Hi, everybody. I'm David Rhodes, and we are in the FDIC live podcast booth brought to you by Firehouse Subs, the firefighter-founded hot sub chain with a passion for hearty and flavorful food, heartfelt service, and public safety. Ready for your next mission? Firehouse Subs is offering firefighters the opportunity to continue serving after service, now as restaurant owners. Learn more at www.firehousesubsfranchising.com. Well, what a week it has been. This is the wrap-up show for FDIC. It's Saturday, and we're going till about 1 o'clock, but I wanted to bring in some very special guests today for the wrap-up. I've got with me Mike from Redline Mobile Gear Cleaning, Colin from Redline Mobile Gear Cleaning, and Joe from the Firefighter Cancer Support Network. And so Mike's company cleans and repairs gear. That's what they do. And simultaneously in different orbits, we both had the same idea to get this done at FDIC. So I made a phone call to the Firefighter Cancer Support Network with what I thought was going to be a crazy but necessary idea of storing all of the hands-on training gear that was used at live fire events. And folks, that was about 1,000 sets of gear. They immediately jumped on board and decided they would tackle it with an army of 10 people, and we would find where we would store the gear. And then as word got out what we were doing, a good friend, PJ Norwood, hooked me up with Mike here, because this is what he does. And he goes, oh, no, we want to store it and clean it. And it went from there. So, Mike, why don't you just take over and explain from your perspective why this was important and kind of how all this worked out.
Yeah, of course. So as a career firefighter, obviously clean gear is, a passion for mine from the nonprofit standpoint, from the cancer work that Joe and everybody else in the cancer world is doing for firefighter combat or challenge or cancer, I should say. Sorry. And seeing the gear that's used at this program, smells. People are walking through the hallways. The gear stinks. So for years, I've been saying, why don't we just clean this? So Redline was built in 2020 to allow gear cleaning to be a very easy process. Eliminate the shipping and the logistics, the moving stuff around, and just get it done right on spot. Oh, what better spot than here? So when that challenge came to us, I said, yeah, we'll need 6 trucks. We'll need an army of people, but I'm up for a challenge. And then I said, hey, Colin, have fun with this one. So there was a lot of planning. We had, 4 or 5 months of team calls and stuff to try and figure out what went into this event.
And my biggest fear was the Monday night collection, Tuesday turnaround, because you guys that take hot, the buses load at 6. We're off by 6:30 with some, 6 o'clock by some. Mm-hmm. And I was like, Mike, we have to turn this gear around we got to be ready at 4:30 in the morning. And you're looking at 1,000 people coming to pick their gear up. And he was like, no problem. We'll figure it out. And it was a lot of logistics. Colin, you want to talk about the process and go take them through the whole thing, the pre-registration and.
Yeah. So during the fit testing, it was pretty much trying to convince people to sign up and say, here, we're going to take good care of your gear. We're going to treat it like our own and make sure that everything stays together. So when they were signing up, we were collecting all the information, trying to get as much from them as we possibly could. If they were doing a special event, like the 9/11 stair climb, if they had a special class after the hot classes, trying to get all that information from them to make sure that everything would go seamlessly. And anytime somebody comes up and says, hey, I'm looking for my gear, we can get it to them in a reasonable time. And I think, it was we had a great team of volunteers from both the Firefighter Cancer Support Network, the Redline crew. Everybody worked tirelessly. And when we said, hey, we have to be at the conference center for 3 a.m., everybody kind of just did a double take and at 3 a.m.? Yep.
Oh, by the way, the coffee shops aren't open yet.
Yeah. And nobody, Dad and I, nobody overslept. It was amazing. And so going through, the hot classes, I think that we had a pretty good setup for people to kind of drop their gear at the class that they were coming into on Tuesday morning. And coming in, we were able to help them out, find their gear real quick, and everybody was able to make the buses on time. Coming back, it was, what day are you leaving, or what day do you want to pick your gear up?
Right.
And not going to lie, it was a testament to the hot classes, how dirty and how stinky the gear was. And, it showed that they trained hard, and that's what we like to see. And to make that impact afterwards, to make sure that they go home and don't have stinky gear on the way back, I think it worked out great.
How, tell them a little bit about how the Army of 10 changed to the Army of
many. It was upwards of 50 to 60 people handling the gear all day, every day. We started at 6 a.m. every day, wrapped up about 6 p.m., 7 p.m. every night.
6 a.m. You slept in.
Yeah, 6 a.m. was sleeping in.
Did you guys have to wash any Tuesday night for ship out Wednesday morning?
We started early to make sure that everything that was leaving early on Wednesday morning was done. And that was kind of the big thing, was making sure that everything was there. And, so starting early Wednesday morning, I don't think we had one person come in and say, hey, I'm running late. Where's my gear? Everything was on track, and the organization and being able to talk with everybody throughout the entire process really helped.
So in our initial talks with the Firefighter Cancer Support Network, in order to twist their arm, which didn't need to be twisted too much, I said, hey, what if we do this as a fundraiser for you guys? Like, you could charge $20 to store their gear and all that. And we thought that may deter some people from participating. And then when Mike and his team came on board with the sponsorship, it was like, okay, we're good with that. We'll just ask for a donation. And, you could donate as little as $1 or as much as $1,000 if you wanted to. We had the QR codes out there ready to roll. And Joe, just tell us a little bit about the Firefighter Cancer Support Network and how the fundraising went for you with this and your other events this week.
Sure. So this has actually been one of the best FDICs that we've had here. And when you approached us and said, hey, we've been talking cancer awareness and prevention for a while now, and it's time that we put action behind words here at FDIC, and this is what we'd like to do. We were beyond excited. Then when you said, you can bring 10 people and we'll see how this goes, we were scared.
Me too.
So when Mike's team came on board, it was that was a huge relief for us. They have been nothing but phenomenal. They kind of really took the ball and ran with it. The logistics, it was almost like they had this planned already. They had a plan when we started talking to them, and I think we just had some tweaks here and there with what we were going to do. But it seems everything came together. As Mike has told us, no gear was lost. Everything was cleaned. We just couldn't be more excited because, our ultimate goal is that no firefighter has to battle cancer. And I think this goes a long ways towards meeting that by ensuring that everybody goes home with clean gear.
Sends a message for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah. We couldn't be more proud to be part of this partnership.
Yeah. I think it sent a very strong message of how important it was for us to even attempt it.
Yeah, for sure.
And we ended up, I think you told me last night, somewhere around 792 sets of gear were stored, cleaned, and I'm sure you still got a few that are getting picked up today.
About 10 left.
Yeah. And let me tell you, we talk about cooperation and collaboration and all the time, but like we talked about in the opening ceremonies about purpose and stuff, this shows what you can accomplish if you'll reach out, talk about your dreams and what should happen, and you're going to find good folks that will help you accomplish anything. And it could be any kind of project, whether it's at the fire department or whatever. It's almost like a public-private cooperation, but it's mutually good for everybody, because the goal really is keep the firefighter safe, keep the gear out of the hotel room, let them know how important it is to have it cleaned. And then these guys, on top of cleaning, he at the last week said, hey, we want to bring a repair truck as well. So they got a truck that has sewing machines, heat presses to redo reflective. So talk a little bit about that.
well, we thought 792 sets. I thought we'd be bored, so might as well do some repairs too, We figured bring the whole ISP capabilities. If a guy rips his pants on day one and he's completely done day two, he could have came and saw us in an emergency, make sure we're all set,
And you guys had, actually, a vendor had a issue with gear.
We had a number. We probably did 6 or 12 repairs that were a direct reflective of the show of, hey, I have this problem. Can you fix it now?
Yeah.
They had it done, no problem. We had a guy who had a pocket ripped off right before a event that got sewn on, no problem. So, I mean, I didn't want to handle all that gear without have the ability to fix it should something go wrong. So that's why we brought the whole repair unit as well, all the sewing machines, heat presses, all the different fabrics, everything we needed to pull that off.
And these are mobile trucks, so they're parked out in front of Lucas Oil Stadium. We sort of took over the elevated concrete platform, which was the entrance to the stadium. And there's like hundreds of sets of gear out there. There's a check-in, check-out process. And folks, there were zero problems, complaints to the end user for sure. I'm sure you guys stumbled here and there and had to figure a few things out along the way, but nothing that interrupted the operations. We had a hydrant break and a couple other little things like that. But I mean, hey, what do good firefighters do? Adapt
and overcome.
That's right. That's it.
So, just a phenomenal initiative, and we couldn't have done it without these guys. Joe, talk a little bit about what the Firefighter Cancer Support Network does and how to get in touch with you.
Sure. So we were formed in 2005 by a firefighter paramedic from LA County, Mike Dubron, and he was diagnosed with stage 4 colorectal cancer, and he realized he didn't really have anybody to talk to. So he formed the organization, and the intent of it in the beginning was solely to provide a firefighter who was battling cancer with another firefighter who had already battled cancer and survived, so that they could kind of give them hey, I've already walked the walk, and this is what you can expect in your battle. No two battles are the same, but it's nice to know that what you're going through is not a first. It's good to have that experience, and quite honestly, be told, hey, surgery's going to suck, but you'll get through it. You'll have pain for a week or whatever, and you will heal. So like I said, we try and pair up a firefighter, say they've had prostate cancer, with another firefighter who's had prostate cancer, and they can kind of guide them, if you will, with their experience. But aside from that, we've grown a lot over the 22 years we've been in existence. We now have an education and awareness program where we will go across the country. If you just call us up, you can go to our website and request a class, and we'll come to your firehouse or your training academy or wherever we can meet you to deliver. It's about an hour, but it teaches the firefighters what they're being exposed to, how they're being exposed, and really the steps that they can take to minimize their exposures. Because the less exposure they have, obviously, the greater their chance of not getting cancer. So we do that. We also participate in research studies. The firefighter cancer cohort study that's going on right now is a 30-year longitudinal study, and it's going to look at 10,000 firefighters across the nation. And at the end of it, hopefully be able to provide some insight into who's getting cancer, when they're getting cancer, why they're getting cancer, and what can we do to reduce that. The other big thing that we're proud to partner with the National Firefighter Registry for Cancer. Hopefully that's going to be brought back. And that, again, the goal is 200,000 firefighters that they can study. And they want everybody, whether you're a healthy firefighter, if you've had cancer, if you're active, or if you're retired, they want every firefighter to register for this registry. So again, they can look at all of the information and try and figure out, how do we reduce cancer in firefighters? Because, it's the firefighter is the one who battles the cancer a lot of times, and the focus is on them. But sometimes we lose sight of the fact that although the firefighter's battling it, their family's going through it too.
100%.
Right?
Yeah.
So they don't have the physical aspect of it, but they have all the emotional aspects and fears and apprehension of what's going to happen. So if we can reduce that, maybe ease it a little bit for the firefighters across the nation and their families, then we're all in, and anything we can do to help them is kind of our goal. Our motto is no one fights alone. So hopefully if anybody does get diagnosed, they will reach out to us. Our website is www.firefightercancersupport.org. There's a ton of information on there, educational information. There's ways you can reach us on there to request assistance, to request a class. So I would encourage anybody to please take a look at the website. And if you need anything, we're here to help.
You guys do amazing work.
We need everybody to also reach out to their representatives and let them know that we need to keep that National Firefighter Cancer Registry going.
Absolutely.
And it's not shut down or abolished. It's just on pause with the whole IT reorganization within Health and Human Services. It may end up in another department somewhere. So you can't register right now because the computer system is down. Right. But hopefully it'll be back up soon. But please don't wait. Contact Health and Human Services, contact your elected officials at the national level, and just send them an email. You can go on any of the fire service political websites. I believe the Congressional Fire Service Institute has a link that you put in your state, and it just links you right to who to contact. And it really does make a difference when they hear, from a 2-year firefighter in a small town in Oklahoma saying, hey, keep this up. That has more weight sometimes than the fire commissioner in New York City. But everybody needs to take a little action on making sure that we keep that thing going. Okay. Mike and Colin, talk a little bit about your footprint as a company. I know I met your dad.
Yeah.
This is a family affair. Obviously, it's a business, but it's also a labor of love in the fight against cancer and protecting firefighters. And we do know from the research that clean gear does reduce the exposure, and also where you store the gear. A lot of stations now, most of them don't allow gear in the living quarters. It has to be in the apparatus bay, or what they call the dirty area versus the clean area. But talk about the company. What's the footprint? Yeah. Where are you? And how can people get in touch with you?
Yeah, I appreciate it. So Redline was founded. We started cleaning our first set of gear in 2020. Actually, Colin was our first employee. And we went out to a job site and had our truck. I built a prototype truck and said, I have this dream of cleaning all this gear on site. He says, what do you need me to do? I said, I have no idea. Figure out everything else. I figured out how the truck's going to work. I need you to figure out everything else. So it started from a friendship there. And as a family business, my wife runs our admin. My father runs all of our office stuff in terms of contracting and stuff. We started in 2020. COVID hit. We couldn't expand it internally because I couldn't get trucks. I couldn't get equipment. We just had one truck and a couple great guys, and that would work. So we took that time to figure out other ways where we can expand. And so we reinvested into a franchise program and got it approved by the government. We ran through all the legal requirements and to everything what it takes to become a franchise. So we were working with our New York team, and they were doing a bunch of jobs out there. We gave them our first truck. And that kind of showed us that this can work. It is a reputable model. They took exactly what Colin and I showed them, and they ran with it, and they excelled to the point where they took over the whole island, in the first year almost? Yeah. And that showed us that this business can be reputable. So then the franchise program was launched, and we had, in 2023, we launched it here at FDIC. Was our first time we made that announcement. And then in 2024, all the franchises that signed up started taking deliveries of their truck, because there was about a year where it took from delivery time of order to truck finished. And now trucks are rolling out the door every 2 months. We have putting a new franchise on board every 2 months. All of our franchises are all firefighter owned, firefighter operated, and they all operate the exact same way. So for us now, fast forwarding and only 5 years since we started the company, now we're operating in 14 different states. We're adding new locations every 2 months. We have five trucks on order. We're building and fabricating our own trucks to have a full fabrication shop, do everything on the trucks, from build the trucks to servicing them, managing them, and making sure that everybody's trained the exact same way. So what you were able to see outside was people from what do we have, 10 different states crews here. We had 6 trucks, but a couple franchises like our California group or our Florida group sent their manpower up, not the truck. We didn't need their truck. So we had all these crews that were probably, some of them had never even met each other, but they showed up on Tuesday, got out here and said, let's go to work. Every one of them worked the exact same way. Their process was the exact same way. Like, this process was down to a point where they literally could do the job without even talking to each other. They know how a gear is done, how it's handled, how it's put back together, how it's folded. So now if you look at the Redline's finished product, whether you're in Massachusetts, California, Florida, all the gear is cleaned, handled, managed the same way, tracked the same way. There's boots on the bottom, pants, jacket, hood and glove tucked in on side, and helmet on top. You know, I take pride in being the only ISP that takes 100% compliance, because we'll start on the left side of the locker room, work our way all the way to the right, make sure the gear that's 2 days old or 20 years old gets cleaned. Everything should be clean, tested, and that is carried out throughout the whole country. And then our finished product of a clean helmet is, and all clean, all the gear all the way down, speaks to our cancer initiative. So for me, it's more than just about cleaning gear, because the sweatband that guy wears every day that's causing him skin cancer needs to be treated with just the same level of care that his gear is handled with. Yep. So that complete set package is kind of our Redline finished package. And what was amazing to me this week was seeing it on a 6th alarm event. We'll use our firefighter terminology, right? This was a 6th alarm event for
maybe
us
10.
this year. Yeah, next year's 10. Next year will be a 10 alarm. So,
or all hands.
Yeah, this is definitely an all hands on deck. So what was impressive to me was to truly see the teamwork environment. So if you noticed on our trucks, every truck was flying their team flag from where they're from, what their favorite sports team was. And that was important for me to recognize where they're from, but more importantly, speak on we are a team. Whether it's guys they've never met, whether they're guys that have worked together forever, like Colin and I, we're all on the same page. We're all on the same mission. And everybody who works for us, I don't think one person you saw out there said they have, you know, the ultimate desire to be in the laundry business, right? I know I didn't. But I can tell you everybody shares the same mission and the same focus as I did, that, you know what, if I'm not a doctor, if I'm not going to help the cancer problem on a medical level, where I can help it is on hard work and making sure they have clean gear. And if dirty gear is linked to a cancer, well, this team is probably the most committed group of people you'll ever meet, and they're sharing that same focus. So that's what our franchises are made of. It's kind of been a wild, surreal couple of years of amount of growth where, you know, every month I'm telling Colin, hey, I need you in California, I need you in Texas this month. I think, you know, wherever it is, I mean, we're working. And then this show is our one time a year where we get together nationwide as a whole team. And in order to pull off what we did this week, we couldn't do it without the whole team nationwide.
Well, and I think the passion of our crew goes beyond what we do, because being on site, we're able to help educate the firefighters too.
That's a good point.
It's being able to show them how to properly clean their gear. We want them to clean their gear as much as possible. After any exposure, we push to say, hey, you should be doing this. It's something that's going to help you. It's going to help everybody else in the firehouse, and it's going to help your families. So being able to kind of sit there and do a little education while we're there kind of helps the fire industry as a whole.
Yeah, because that's the model. You guys are pulling the truck up to the fire station, handling that fire station right there, and returning the gear right there on site.
Exactly.
And you even told me, you know, typically you're coming in once or twice a year for that big inspection. And if the stations have their own extractors, you're educating them on how to use their own extractors correctly. Exactly. And get them to do this, you know, after each exposure and each fire.
We'll give them the right soap, the right tools, the right equipment they need. We'll make sure their machines are programmed properly. I want them to clean their gear, you know. Right. They're totally no problem there, you know. So one thing I'd love to throw out to FDIC and challenge all our students and stuff is if we can hit the same 100% compliance that we love to hit when we go to a firehouse. Someday, I'm going to get FDIC to be 100% compliance. All students and all the instructors, their gear will be managed, stored, not taken into treat it like a hot zone, if you will, and we will clean 100% of the people at this show.
And that's our goal. That would not just be live fire classes. We'll try to do it for everybody at some point.
Let's shoot for 100% compliance and pull off the impossible, because I think we pulled off what you said would be impossible. I think we pulled it off this week, but 100%. Personally, I think this team could do better. Seeing how hard they worked, I think we could do 100% compliance.
And as you grow, you'll have more resources, and
You tell me how many trucks you want, Chief.
Yep.
I got you.
It's going to be awesome. With that, if anybody's interested in joining our mission here as a sponsor, we'll have some additional sponsorship opportunities for you to get in on being a part of this important mission. And I know we're all going to be back, and we're going to expect bigger numbers. We're going to have actually more live fire classes next year. So that's going to be a huge thing, and they're going to be later in the week. So it'll give you less of a turnaround time. But hey, we like a challenge.
Absolutely.
That's right.
It'd be
Absolutely.
boring. We can't get complacent and boring. And you were talking about everybody flying their own flags, their football teams, and all that stuff. For those of you fire chiefs out there listening, that is a lesson in culture. And that's the same as a company patch, station logo, and that stuff that a lot of times gets denied up at the headquarters level.
Yeah.
That stuff is vitally important to the identity and the buy-in and the camaraderie of a team. And there, yes, it creates a little competition,
Of course.
and you want that.
Of course.
That's almost like the secret sauce of keeping everybody on their toes.
You
It's
had
like,
some competitions going amongst our team, didn't you?
Absolutely.
yeah.
We were
How many
challenging-
sets do you watch?
Yeah, exactly. We were challenging each other every day, saying,
how fast can you get this
fast
done?
can you do it? Who's going to be the most efficient? Who's going to get it done first? And then afterwards, we all came together and went to the person who was the slowest and tried to help them out. So it was kind of everybody fights together.
Yep.
We're going to get through this. We're going to get through it together. And
Were
that's how we're going to be.
you the A team or they beat you?
We're going to leave that unsaid.
All right, to wrap it up here, other than the huge success of this project that we pulled together, your favorite FDIC moment, Joe?
Oh, geez. It was exciting for us to see how many people did take advantage of this, because it shows they care.
Yeah, 10 years ago,
Yeah.
we would have probably had 100
Oh, sure.
people, and we had almost 800 took advantage of this, which shows the culture is changing.
It is. It's not changing as fast as we want, but it is changing. And I think, 5-10 years, whatever that is, we will see a reduction in cancer in firefighters.
Yep.
The sad reality is we're never going to eliminate it, just simply due to what the job we do, right? But if we can reduce it as much as we can, then that's a plus.
Colin, besides the delicious Little Caesars pizza on site, because you guys weren't allowed to take a break,
Yep.
your favorite meal in Indy this week?
Oof. That's a great question. I would probably say our dinner last night was probably one of the best dinners I've had in Indy in many years.
Awesome. What'd you have?
It was a little bit of chicken, it was a little bit of steak, some green beans and potatoes, and coupled that with a couple nice drinks, and it was excellent.
Awesome. Mike, favorite moment other than being a huge success and a rock star?
My favorite moment was last night. We had a team dinner. Chief, appreciate you joining us for our team dinner last night, and to see a room, standing room only, far more people than I thought, of 75 people who not only believed in our mission, worked their ass off all week, and had a celebratory dinner that we shared with our nonprofit friends, that we shared with our FDIC friends, and we shared with our whole Redline team. To stand back and reflect on that room and say, holy cow, what did we just accomplish? That was amazing. That was the moment my wife and I had to step off to the back, like that moment at your wedding. You're like, this is our dream. We built this. So last night, being able to give some money away, being able to help out our cancer support network group, our Detect Together group that we work with at Host, everybody shares the same goal, right? To see Redline team members from around the whole country becoming like best friends and having a lot of drinks together, for me was like that we did it moment. That was just totally surreal.
And Mike's a very humble dude. That was a $20,000 donation to these two organizations last night. So it was incredible to be there. Saw a lot of tears.
Yes.
From the recipients. I know you guys are very appreciative. Man, what an FDIC. I think this is a perfect wrap up. Go ahead.
I was just saying, we are proud to partner with both of you. It just shows dedication, and the commitment to reducing cancer in this fire service.
Yep. All right, everybody, we're wrapping it up. We're in the Firehouse Subs live at FDIC podcast booth. I can't thank everybody enough for attending. We couldn't do this without the close to 37,000. We will still have to wait on the numbers to come in, but we're right there at that 37,000 mark. Had a great hands-on training. We had a lot of free training this year throughout the week in the drill yard, the Lucas Oil experience. We had new summits. We had an industrial summit. We had an ARF summit. We had a technology summit with actual live demonstrations out at the Indy Fire Training Ground. We had Women in Fire here. We had numerous organizations having their annual meetings, and this thing just continues to grow. The GEMS Innovation Summit, the Metro Officers Summit. This truly is the place where the fire service comes together, manufacturers, firefighters, officers, organizations, and it's just an unbelievable vibe. I think FDIC kind of has its own culture as well. So be looking for the dates. The early bird registration will start in October. And I'm telling you, if you want hands-on training, you have to get signed up early. This stuff's, all the live fire stuff sells out. It's like Garth Brooks tickets. As soon as we say go, it is like literally a couple of days and all the live fire stuff is gone. And that's like 10 classes. So we're going to try to expand that through the week. We're going to give you more and more opportunities. So rest up. You got 11 and a half months, 12 months, and we will be right back in Indy for FDIC 2026. So behalf on the Clarion Events team, all the people behind the scenes, hundreds of folks that make this happen, thank you. Thank you for attending. And wow, wrapping up FDIC 2025. I'm Dave Rhodes, and we will see you next year.